All right guys, welcome to how to select the correct jig head for your lure fishing. And there's probably more factors than you imagined in this video. We've got 5 things to cover today. We've got a hook sizing guide. So how do you know what size hook marries up to the right size bait? We're gonna cover all of that. We've got material of the head, zinc, lead, or tungsten. Okay, we're gonna cover that. Thirdly, we're gonna cover head shape and hook shape. So we've got everything from round ones through to pointed ones. We've got offset hooks, and we've even got dedicated Ned style ones. So I'll explain all of the different shapes. We've got sizings. How do you know what weight? Do I need a 5 gram? Do I need a 25 gram? We're gonna run through all of that. And the last one, and please stick around to the end because this one will save you the most amount of pain. I would say the #1 reason people lose fish, and I see them very upset, especially when you've lost a really good one right by the net. The reason they lose the fish is because they've got the wrong weight wire or thickness of wire to the strength of their rod. Okay, but stick around to the end because I'm going to explain everything. But if you don't want lost fish, you need to know that one, okay? Right, let's start off with a sizing guide. We're going to use the Shad T Slim because we've got everything from the diddy little 5 centimeter micro perch one, going through 7.5, 10, 12, 14, 18, 22, right up to 27. All right, that's actually too big to put a jig head in, but I'll explain that when we get onto the big size hooks. So the first rule of thumb is you want your hook to be coming out roughly 1/3 to halfway down a bait. So we're going to use a paddle tail shad, but again, if you had a curly style bait, then it would be a similar principle. So we've got the head here, that's about 1/3 of the way down, that's about half of the way down. So I want to be in this zone. If I've got a hook that's too small and it's up towards the head here, the fish has got to eat the whole thing before the hook gets anywhere near, so we're going to get really poor hookup ratio. And if I've got the hook coming out and it's too big, like this, and I've got it coming out 3/4 of the way down the bait, the hook stiffens the whole bait and I lose a lot of the action, okay? So remember that rule of thumb. Whenever, because there's different brands, have got slightly different sizings between their different hooks. So again, if you're in the shop and you know that you use this bait a lot, pick one out, marry it up and think, yeah, that looks just right. Okay, so we're coming out about just between 1/3 and halfway down the bait. So on a 5 centimeter bait, we've got our micro jig heads here. We do these in a size 4. This is a size 4 and we do them in a size 2. But a size 4, hope you guys can see that. That looks about right. The next one up, a 2, just about works as well. But any bigger than that, too big. Let's move up, next size, 7.5. So anywhere from probably 6 to 8 centimeters. I'm gonna look at a 1 or a 1.0. Again, that just looks about right. I can just imagine a perch coming up and eating that. So that's a size 1, but a 1.0 up from that, maybe even a 2.0, I could get into a 7 or an 8 centimeter bait. So that's the kind of range we're looking at. Then we go up to a 3.0, and I know that a 3.0 is absolutely ideal for 9 and 10 centimeter baits. So that's my 3.0. On a 10 centimeter Shad T Slim and on a 9 centimeter Shad T's, that just looks perfect as well. All right, so 9 and 10 centimeter baits, you want a 3.0. Once you're up to 12s, you want to be 4.0 to 6.0. So let's have a look at them. Got 4.0 on there. Yep, that's looking good. And then I've got a 6.0 here. So don't look at the weight too much. Just look at the hook size. Got a 6.0. Yep, 4.0, 5.0 and 6.0 are good on a 12. Okay, can I get a 6.0 on an 18? Nah, looking too small. See that? I haven't got enough gape. is far too close to the head. So 6-0, 12s, and 14s, that looks ideal, okay? Then we move up to 8-0 and 10-0. So let's just skip up to 10-0. This is about as big as your jig heads are gonna get for your pike. Yeah, that looks good. That's an 18 centimeter bait on a 10-0. Also got an 19 centimeter bait on a 10-0 there as well. So that's pretty good. And the reason, I mean, you don't really want to use a hook much bigger than that, but once we're up to these big sized baits over 20 centimeters, the jig head doesn't look big enough, and really they're such big baits. We're only fishing for pike. You're only casting them on heavy rods, so you want trebles and stinger style baits once you're above 20 centimeters. So that's a good rule of thumb. That takes us through 2s and 4s for your micros, 1-0s and 3-0s to your sort of 7 to 10 centimeters, 4-0s and 6-0s for your 12s and your 14s, up to your 8-0s and your 10-0s for your 16s to 19s. So there's a good guide for the sizings. Next up, what weight do we use? What do we select? Great rule of thumb, 1 gram for every foot of water. So if you're on a shallow canal that's 3 foot deep, 2 or 3 grams is about right. If you're on a lake that's maybe 6 or 7 foot deep, 5 to 7 grams is going to be about right. Great rule of thumb. There are a couple of, you know, like with everything, there's always a couple of outliers. Maybe in deeper water in the winter when it's really cold, I want to fish super slow. So maybe I'm in 10 foot of water, I might only want to fish 4 or 5 grams because it makes me fish really slow. It's going to take a nice long time to get down and fish really slow. All right. Conversely, maybe I've got 5 foot of water and I want 10 or 12 grams on. It's going to sink pretty quickly and I have to fish it quite quickly. Maybe I want to fish quickly. Maybe I want to fish aggressively when the water's warm. So I might go oversized for my weight of jig head. So you can play with your speed depending on what size jig head you're using for the depth of water. But if you want to just learn the good rule of thumb, 1 gram for every foot of water, you won't be too far wrong. Most of you guys, you're probably going to be doing most of your fishing on canals, rivers and lakes less than 10 foot. And I would say 3s, 5s and 7s do most of my heavy lifting in that range. 1s and 2s, maybe ultralight on some shallow canals, and bigger, deeper reservoirs, I might be going 10s, 20s and above. But yeah, a lot of general lure fishing from the bank. You can't really go wrong with 3, 5 or 7 grams. So that's the weight. In terms of material, we've got 3 options. There's zinc, which is the cheapest, lead in the middle, and tungsten the most expensive. We've also got, in the same order, zinc is the biggest for its weight, lead is in the middle, and tungsten is smallest. It's very dense, very heavy for its size, so we can shrink our heads down if we want to use tungsten, but it's cost as well. Cheapest, in the middle, most expensive, but also feel. We've got zinc and lead tend to be quite soft, whereas tungsten's quite a hard style bait, but is also feel. So zinc and lead tend to be quite soft, and I don't get as much feedback through the rod, even with braid, on what's on the bottom. With tungsten, it's very hard, very dense, and I get a lot of feedback, so I can absolutely tell if I'm on gravel beds or mussel beds. I can feel it dinking. If I'm on soft silt, there's bits of weed, if I can even feel timber, that type of stuff. So if you want a lot of feedback and you're really into your finesse methods, go for tungsten, but it is the most expensive. All right, so that covers a little bit about head material. Next, we're going to move on to shape. So again, for you beginners out there, you cannot go wrong with a J-shaped hook and a lead round jig head, all right? It's the most versatile. I can swim it up in the water, I can bounce it on the bottom, I can even fish a Ned style bait on it, all right? Because it will sit up like that, it will roll up. So always the most versatile. So if you're ever in any doubt, just go for a round jig head style. If you want to fish on the bottom, maybe with a creature style bait or a little shad style bait, all right, that you want to hop close along the bottom, you've got stand-up jig heads, absolutely brilliant. And I know that's a 4.0 size hook, so I know it's going to be a 10 centimeter bait that marries up. 10 centimeters on the 4.0, absolutely perfect. You can see there though, we've got an open style hook, so the point is exposed. Maybe you've got a lot of weed or a lot of snags. So you can move across to EWG or offset or weedless, we would call this. And you rig them slightly differently. We're not going to do it today. We're not doing rigging today. There's other videos on YouTube if you want to learn how to do rigging. We're just talking about the theory and how to select the right one. But yeah, so I love fishing these with like creature baits. Now I know that that's it's either a 3.0 or a 4.0, that looks to me. So I know 3.0s, 4.0s, 9 and 10 centimeter baits. So I've got my 10 centimeter creek craw, and that is going to fit on there absolutely perfectly. Remember, if it's too small, you're not going to get hookups. If it's too big, you affect the action of the lure. And yeah, it all becomes a little bit messy. So just select the right ones. We've also got Ned style. So again, completely flat, designed to be used with a Ned style bait. So these are buoyant and stretchy. So we'll hop them along the bottom and then they naturally sit up like that, waving, tantalizing for any sort of perch to come down. Think it's a little worm or an invertebrate. But you can see there, they stand up absolutely perfectly. So again, there's different sizes, shapes, and sort of presentations. Try and select the right one for you. And moving on to the last one, we have got, remember I said at the beginning about losing fish? This is the #1 reason. So I'm going to show you here. At Westin, we do the Roundup LT, stands for lightweight wire, thinner wire. Roundup HD, heavy duty wire. Okay, and the #1 reason is if I've got a lightweight wire but a heavy rod, I'm going to set the hook, but eventually I'll end up pulling that thin wire, nicking it out of the mouth. Conversely, if I've got a light rod that's not balanced to a heavy style hook, which is much thicker, I need a powerful rod to set the hook. If I've got a light rod and a thick wire, I won't set the hook. So the classic is, if you get a bite and you think that you strike and hook a fish and you get 2 head shakes and it comes off, you haven't set the hook. Wire's too thick or your rod's too light. Conversely, if you get a bite and you play it for ages and it gets close to the net, and at that last final moment, you go to put it in the net and the hook pings out and you're getting that consistently, that's typically your wire's too thin or your rod's too heavy. So make sure you balance lighter rods with lighter wires, heavier rods with heavier wires. So there we go, guys. Sizing guide, material guide, shape guide, wire guide, absolutely everything. That was everything I could think of to do with jig heads. So I hope you've learned a few things. Pop it in the comments below if you enjoyed anything particular or you've got any other questions. And until then, we'll see you on the next one.